Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome back once again to Transwest Truck Trailer RV of Frederick, Colorado. My name's Mark Love, and today I've got kind of a cool coach for you. It's a brand new Ventana, and this is the 3512 floor plan. When people call or come in and say they're looking for a short diesel, I think they're maybe thinking 30 foot, you know, like the Class A gas. You don't get many of those. At 35 feet and under, that's about as short as you're going to get, except for a couple of specialty coaches. You know, the Breeze and things like that make them shorter. But what we have is a Freightliner XCR chassis with a 8.9 liter Cummins engine. So it's a 380 horsepower Cummins L9 engine. And up until a couple of years ago, this coach used to be on a 6.7 liter engine. It was a 360 horse and it only had 800 foot-pounds of torque. With the bigger block engine, you have 1,150 foot-pounds of torque, and it's much better going up the mountains, much better when you're towing. Let's take a walk around the outside and point out some of the features. First of all, this has the roof mount Nova awnings, which is an option for the Ventana. Typically, they would be a side mount awning on that. So we've got the two main awnings. We've got one over the front door here. Of course, like always, we get a heavy-duty grab handle with a keyless entry. One of the things I like to point out about the fuel fills, you've got them on both sides. Newmar goes the extra step, and they protect that fuel line with a steel plate under there, and you won't find that on a lot of coaches. As you're going down the road, if this tire shreds, it could make a mess out of your fuel line right here. Having that steel plate just is one less thing to worry about. And another thing I talk about quite a bit, but as long as we're here, it's a good point to show you what a flush wall slide looks like. And this is a true flush wall slide. You can see when this slide out comes in, it fits inside this sidewall. And the beauty of that is, as you're going down the road, number one, you don't have the wind noise that so many slide outs have. A lot of the noise from a diesel motorhome isn't from the engine, it's from your doors, your windows, your slide outs, the air coming around them. And number two, it just seals better, so the rain's not going to get in there and it tucks in completely flat. So Newmar is one of the few that does a great job with a true flush wall slide. One of the differences when you get a Newmar product. Okay, back in this first compartment, we are prepped for a pull-out tray and a freezer, which means basically we've got the 110 power already run, but you can see you've got good storage in here. And again, the XCR chassis is a lighter weight chassis. I believe the GVWR on this, darn, I was just looking at it, is, I want to say 38,000 pounds on this. It might be 34,000, but it's one of the lighter chassis. And with that, you get smaller compartments compared to a Dutch Star or a King Air. But the one thing that's consistent through all of them is their star foundation. You can kind of see one of the gusset members here. Kind of hard to see your floor rails. But the star foundation is this superstructure that Newmar welds on to the chassis to make for a stronger platform. They've got tile running all the way back to the bathroom. Heavy residential refrigerators and so forth. They need the stronger support. And Newmar Star Foundation, which stands for Strong, True, and Robust, does exactly that. So it gives you a better platform to build on. One of the unique things about how Newmar builds every coach, whether it's a entry-level base star or a top-of-the-line King Air, they all have 16-inch framing. All of the diesels are going to have that star foundation. The subfloor is all the same. Newmar is consistent with the way they build throughout their lineup, and it really makes sense when their slogan is, when you know the difference. As you go around and look at these features, you'll realize they do build a better product. Okay, out here we've got a 41-inch TV with a sound bar. We looked at that one, which was a pass-through. This is a great improvement Newmar made, more for the techs than anything else. You're probably not going to mess with this unless you're, you know, quite versed in electronics. But this cluster used to be back in the closet, very hard to work on. It allows the techs to access it much easier. This panel pulls off, and it's actually hinged, so it pulls out. So the wiring cluster has been moved to a new location. This used to be a pegboard. You have a water tank behind it, so you never had much storage here anyway. So that was a great improvement. Okay, as we move back, in our back two compartments, we get a little bit of storage there, but you can see a lot of your components. In fact, it looks like your water separator is right down there. These are your chassis batteries, so you have two chassis batteries, then the house batteries are separate. And that, by the way, is your combustion chamber. All of the diesels now, of course, to clean the emissions up, they have the combustion chamber and use the diesel emission fluid to clean up that exhaust. Let's move around to the back and take a look at the back cap. Again, the 380 XCR chassis, which is an 8.9 liter engine with 1,150 foot-pounds of torque. Now, you have a 2-inch receiver here, and ironically enough, the gross combined weight gives you 10,000 pounds of towing, but the hitch itself, excuse me, is only rated at 5,000 pounds. So be careful what you're towing. Now, if you're flat towing something, you know, most of your Jeeps or a small truck or something like that, you're not going to have any problem. And with the bigger engine on a smaller, lighter weight chassis, this unit pulls very well in the mountains. You also have your 7-way plug here, hook up for your brake control. And then as we take a look at the back at the engine compartment, this is the difference between the Ventana and the next step up is a Dutch Star. Rear radiator versus a side radiator. So with the Ventana, you really can't see a whole lot of the engine, but the things you need to access are right here. Your coolant system, oil, transmission, dipstick right there, gauge to check your air filter, how dirty it's getting, and plug in for your diagnostics. Everything is right here. As you go to a side radiator, they're a little bit bigger and they get a little better airflow. So generally those are on the bigger engines, but this one is the 8.9 liter, like I said, 380 horse rear radiator. Let's come around the driver's side. So this first compartment, we get a little bit of storage. Plug there if you want to plug in your block heater. Over here we've got our 50 amp power cord, and this is a manual out and then a power rewind back in. Got a place for our park cable or maybe a portable satellite system. This is pre-wired for satellite. And then we have our surge protector and our crossover circuit all right here. On the left there we have our DEF tank. So we have a 100-gallon fuel tank, so that's going to be 10 gallons of DEF. And right here we have just a little storage area. Your gloves, oil, you know, things that you might want to keep outside. It gives you the gauge too, but it'll warn you inside. As you're getting low on DEF, it'll let you know so you're not going to run out. Okay, here we have our water compartment, and this looks so similar to every other Newmar one you see. They do a great job. I love the stainless. They have this embossed in here. It's not going to come off. Whole house water filter, power hose reel. This is our winterization bypass kit. We do have an outside shower. Hot and low point drains right here. You can turn your pump. If you're running off city water, you'll hook up right here. Then we do have a black tank rinse also. Sorry, sometimes when we get in these compartments it gets hard to hear or we don't get good vocal. Didn't mean to cut out there. Okay, here is our Oasis Chinook. And this is another great addition they did. This is 4 or 5 years ago. They added the hydronic heating system to the Ventana, and also they made an option for floor heat. And this does have the in-floor heat with it. So with your hydronic heater, you can heat your coach with diesel or electric. You have 2 electric elements in there. So on very cold days, I come out, I turn on both electric elements and the diesel. It'll heat it up quicker. You've got the floor heat you can turn on. They've really done a lot on what used to be considered somewhat of an entry-level coach to give it a high-end, more of an upscale look and features. And like I say, with that bigger engine, this is a great little package right here. By the way, we've got an egress door in the bathroom. I'll show you that when we get there. You open this door and there is a ladder that drops down. So in the case of an emergency, you have an easy way to get out. Okay, this is our pass-through compartment. And you could option in manual slide outs there if you want. And here's our battery compartment. Now, the fact that it's got 8 6-volt AGMs tells me that this has a residential refrigerator, and it also has an induction cook surface. You get the extra batteries when you go with the all-electric package. That is on a pull-out tray also, so it makes it very easy to service. And once again, another fuel fill protected by that steel plate. And you can hear our generator running. It is pretty humid and hot here in Colorado, so we got the AC going inside. But this compartment has our chassis circuits. You can see they give you some spare fuses. They have everything labeled in there. And then if you want to pull the front out, you just release it right there. You've got an 8K generator that slides out the front. Okay, this also is equipped with lane assist, blind spot monitoring. You can see the Mobileye right up here, so they've improved the safety features of it also. Let's go ahead and take a look inside. I like to keep the front slides closed so when we get in you can see what it's like when you travel. And you know, this one tightens up a little bit, but it's plenty easy enough for me to get through. Access to your whole kitchen right here. Get into the refrigerator without any problem. And then also this bathroom, and this is only a single bathroom unit, but they have that center hinge door, so it makes it easy to get in with the slides closed. If you have dogs, they can easily get back into the bedroom, up on your bed. But this is how you travel. And now let me step up and run these slides out. We'll talk about the floor plan a little bit. Get a shot of this right here. What you're seeing, this is the lockout bar, or the transit bar. So when you're traveling with this all the way in, you can actually pull this down, and it works like a transit bar would to lock that slide in tight. Now, most of the time people don't use them, but it is there if you should, worry about your slide leaking out. There we go. And as they go all the way out, you see they settle down into a flush floor. And this is something new too, is they're using the woven fabric here instead of the carpet. The Ventana was the level that you got carpet in the slide outs, you didn't get a dishwasher, you didn't get the hydronic heating and the in-floor heat. Well, all that's changed. They've made this into a really nice two-person coach. You could sleep more than that, but it's got a lot of the luxury features that the higher end one does, higher end units. Let's go ahead and take a look. We've got a dinette table here, and of course this dinette is one that collapses and will make into a bed. You've got an extra cushion in the back. Of course, when you do make it into a bed, you have to lift these up to drop it down to that cleat there. I'm not going to do that right now. And then you do have storage under each bench. And there were a couple of seat belts down in here. 50-inch TV on a televator. Then above our dinette and TV, we've got some storage. Of course, that middle compartment is for video components or gaming systems, whatever you bring. Like I say, it's prep for satellite, but there's no satellite on there. Most people are using streaming services anymore, it seems like. Okay, across from our dinette, we do have a nice hide-a-bed couch. And do I dare? I didn't set this up in advance, but I'm going to go ahead and take a chance that it doesn't trick me. Oh, yep. So where's that release? There we go. And there we go. And that does air up with, give it about 10 minutes or so. It's been compressed in there. But very simple to pull this bed out. You've got a queen bed, big enough for 2 adults. You've got an extra sleeper here. And let me put this back, and then I'll talk about one more place where people can sleep. And it's right here in this overhead bunk. There's only a few models in the Newmar lineup where you can get this option. Let me see. There we go. So if you have little ones or anybody that has kids, they're always going to want to bring a friend along. Here we've got another spot that potentially you could sleep a couple of kids up here, certainly big enough for one adult. So when you think about it, you've got 2 on the couch, you could put 2 small kids on the dinette, another one up here, and then of course the master bedroom. So you've got sleeping for 7 in this 35-foot motorhome. Go ahead and run that up for you. And there we go. Okay. I'm going to move back over here for a minute and show you the storage over the couch. And look at that. That is open all the way through. You can get a lot of stuff up there. Great woodwork here. Newmar does this all in-house. Hidden hinges, beautiful hardware throughout. We do have the manual day and the night shades. And you know, you can get the electric ones, which are nice to have the remote, but I don't mind these. They seem to always work. You don't have glitches, so I'm good with the manual on that. All right. Over here, we've got a little bit more storage. And I believe there's an option for a fireplace. If you wanted, it would go right in here. Okay, and that brings us up to our kitchen. Let's take a look at the overhead first. Of course, you've got all your manuals there. Here we've got a undermount stainless steel sink. Nice to, you know, keep your countertops clean. You can wipe things in there very easily. And you do have a residential style sprayer right there. It's kind of a black and stainless steel. I do like the looks of that. It's pretty cool. Okay, and over here is our induction cook surface. You do get a little bit of a cutting board with that. And one thing about this one, it does pull out. You can see there's a simple 110 plug there. And I can take it out under my awning and cook or wherever I want to use it, especially if you're cooking bacon or fish or something. You don't want to do it inside. Easy enough to take it outside and use it. Okay, we've got it's a convection microwave, but these are also air fryers now that they're putting in. And I've never cooked with an air fryer, so I assume they're easy to use. Down below, we've got a place for a trash can there. A couple of cubbies for your dish soap or scrubbies or sponges, whatever. Here's 4 full pull-out drawers, and all of these, as you can see, have the soft close feature. Another deep silverware drawer, touch-up paint for your 4-color paint job, all your remotes. Then we do have a dishwasher here. This wasn't a common feature in a Ventana a couple of years ago. And then next to the kitchen, we do have our residential refrigerator. I believe this is a 19 cubic foot. And you can see this just arrived. We haven't done the full PDI and gone through and prepped everything yet. We'll be doing that over the next couple of days. Okay, now across from the refrigerator is our bathroom, and this is just the only bathroom in the coach. It's a 35-footer. I guess before we go in there, I will point out our central monitor panel. So if you want to check your tanks, turn your water pump on, all your lights and so forth. You do have the auto gen start, which is a great feature. It'll prevent you from running your batteries completely down. If you've got a pet in here and you're going for a hike, maybe if it hits 75, you want that to turn on. Well, you can do that by setting your air conditioner temp and have your AGS on. Floor heat, we've got 3 different zones, and this is our electric heat that's right in the thin set of the tile. There is our AC. Bluetooth, there is a new app now, and I don't have my phone with me, but you pair to it just like all of them, and you can control everything from this panel right on your phone. And of course, we can go through all of our lights. I hear the air conditioner shutting off. It must have cooled down a little bit. Okay, like I say, this is only a single bathroom, but it's the mid bathroom, kind of an old-fashioned floor plan, and it's actually pretty good size. I'm going to open up a few things so you can get a look at what we've got for storage. And then also I'm going to step in the shower to give you an idea of the size. See, there's a large medicine cabinet and a little shelf next door to it. Over here in the shower, they do have the teak seat. And boy, I find I like these more and more the older I get. We also have the Aquamizer here, the AquaView, I guess they call it. It's a system that helps save your fresh water and keeps you from filling up your gray tank too fast. Basically, what it does when you're waiting for the water to warm up to take a shower, it's recirculating it back into the freshwater holding tank. Once this light turns on, you turn your valve, you take your shower. At this point, that water is going down in the gray tank. But up until then, you're not filling your gray tank. You're not wasting your fresh water. If you're out boondocking or camping off grid, which is very capable in a coach this size, it's kind of a nice feature because you don't go through the water as fast. And you can also see how much room. With the skylight, you know, if you're 6'2", 6'4", you're going to comfortably be able to take a shower. If you're, you know, a 7-footer, you have problems in everything you go into, so it won't be any different here. Okay, let me shut this up. And again, the way they hinge this with the center hinge, I believe Newmar actually had a patent on this, but it allows this door to open wide enough with the slides closed that even a larger person can get in there. Okay, as we move back to the bedroom, before we go in there, I will show you, we have a little bit of pantry space right beside our refrigerator. Okay, and then we're back in the bedroom area. Let's take a look at what we've got for wardrobe and storage first of all. Got cabinets on both sides of the TV. A couple of pull-out drawers, and again, another place for, you know, video components or satellite systems, whatever you use. And then down here are three much larger drawers. So you can see you get an awful lot of storage in here. This is our washer dryer. And 35 feet 10 inches is how long this coach is bumper to bumper. There aren't many coaches 35 or shorter that's going to have a washer dryer, simply because they don't have enough room to put that water closet in there. If you're at a 32 or 33 foot coach, again, in a diesel, this is considered a short one, but it's got all the big options. The residential refrigerator, the dishwasher, the washer dryer, the electric floor heat, all of the high-end options on this. What you just noticed me stumble a little bit over is there is a rise here because of the engine and the size of the chassis. The XCR chassis isn't as tall. We do get a slight step up, and this is access to our engine compartment right there. And we do have a very nice full wardrobe here. That's our cushion when we're making a bed out of the dinette. Now, these are fuses. That used to be in the bathroom. And when they took that cluster of wires out and moved it outside, it gave them a good place to put your breakers and fuses. So it gives you more room in the bathroom. Much cleaner look right there. And then, of course, this is just access to plumbing because our washer and dryer are right there. I don't know if you got a shot of it, but over on this side, if you have like evening dresses or longer items, even a pair of skis or snowboard probably would fit in there. And make sure I do this right so we can close our safety latch. Okay, on both sides of the bed, you have a pedestal with a little storage down below, 110 outlet. You've got some USB ports. Certainly big enough for a CPAP or some type of sleep machine if you have one. And then over here, again, completely open cabinets. So you've got a lot of storage in there. Another 110 outlet, and you do have access ports here on both sides of the bed, so you could potentially put a sleep machine up here and drop it down. Or maybe you're just running a, you know, your charging cord for your tablet or cell phone or something like that. Underneath here, we do get a little bit of storage. And also you see the ladder, and that's for the bunk up over the passenger and driver area. Right down here, we've got a central vacuum system also. You can plug your hose or your components in there. If you sweep dust up right here, open that up and it sucks it in. You can use that outside also. You've got a hookup for it. So again, being in a Newmar diesel, I like what they do with their ceiling. They cover their air conditioning ducts. It is the soft touch ceiling, which has a couple of extra bonuses. Number one, it helps keep it cooler. It is an insulation factor, and it's just easy to clean up. I like the padded ceiling look here. Let's move back up front and talk about the dash just a little bit. So again, when you're on this Freightliner chassis, we've got the Mobileye up there, so we do have lane assist, blind spot monitoring. You don't have the active cruise control with this one, however. Now we get two 9-inch monitors over here, and you can see we've got the 360 view on our camera. Let's go ahead and fire this up. So very basic controls. Here's your climate control for the cab area. Your overhead fans, you've got a high, medium, low. These are our shades, you know, our day-night shades for when you're driving, or at night maybe when you want to shut it off and go to bed. Generator system, entry lock right there. There's not a whole lot. That's our air brake, of course. Up here on the right side, this is where I'm going to Bluetooth in my phone and also set my cruise control and so forth. Media center, you see we are XM radio ready. You still have to subscribe to it. Bluetooth in your phone here. Camera control. Let me go back. There we go. So depending on what view you want to look at, I can look at both sides in the back here. Kind of like this one. With your rear view camera, when you're driving, you might want sort of the bird's eye view. When you're backing up to a trailer, getting a little closer, you can look down on it. And then if you want to look straight down on your hitch, when you're backing in, it makes it very easy to line up that trailer. So that's all over here on your monitor control. And then on the left side of the dash, this kind of controls your screens up here. So steering effort, we do have comfort drive steering. If I get in there, I can adjust it. You know, if I'm at highway speeds, I probably want it up at 6 or 7 or a little bit higher. When I'm maneuvering around an RV park, I'll set it down to 1 or 2. And you can see this, it didn't come all the way back, but when you're driving, the comfort steer is always sensing the torque on the tires, the crown on the road, the crosswind, anything that you might be fighting to keep it in the center position. It senses that, it corrects for you, it keeps the wheel in the center position, makes it a lot less stressful when you're driving. So then we can go back, your fuel economy, all of those controls are done here on the left side of the steering wheel. Your shifter is right here. This is where you engage the engine brake. And then of course your wipers over here and lights. Everything's designed to keep your hands forward, to keep your eyes forward, so you're not looking down here so much the way you used to with the Allison shifter over on the side. So very simple, very easy to get used to this dash. It's comfortable, air ride suspension, so great for long distances. Let me see what else we got. I guess there's a little storage up here I haven't talked about or shown you. We do have our control panel here, lights, exterior step, slide outs. We do have the Girard awnings. These are 110 awning. They run off your inverter. Of course, we've got our slide out right now, and there's our monitors. So everything right here, easy to read. Security lights, turn your exterior light on and off. One last thing, when you buy from Newmar, you get some numbers to call, not only for Ventana, one of their brand specialists, you also get the number for Spartan and Freightliner if you should have a warranty claim or just a question when you're out on the road. And of course, Noogle is their Newmar Google website, which you can download all of the specs, all of the wiring diagrams, whatever you need. And with that in mind, these support numbers, I would like to just point out one more thing. We have a technical advisor here named Bill Habercorn. Bill probably knows more about RVs old and new than anybody I know. He's been in the business a long time. And if you buy from us, you'll have Bill's cell phone. The beauty of that is when you're out on your first trip and you can't remember exactly how the system works, you can call and find out, am I using this correctly, or is there a problem where I need to come in and have it looked at, maybe have it serviced? So when you buy from Transwest, there's a lot of support after the sale, and our technical advisor Bill is second to none. I'm sure anybody that's already dealt with them can attest to that. Anyway, my name's Mark Love. We're in a 3512 Ventana, brand new one. Please call me if you have any questions or want to set up a test drive. And summer is here, time to get out and enjoy the outdoors. So happy trails, my friends. Drive careful, and I'll see you next week.